Hello everyone. It's been reported in the news today that the many banks in Beijing has actually raised their mortgage rate from 0.85 to 0.9 recently.
What does that mean?
Well, let me show you by some examples. If you're taking a 2 million RMB loan from a bank with a length of maturity of 30 years, you will need to pay an additional 100,000 RMB more in a way to matching the repayments of the principal and the interest. So this is quite significant for average family if they raise the interest rate from 0.85 to 0.9.
Yeah, it sounds like a considerable amount of money for an average family.
Yeah, and I think it will make a big difference to people's estate purchase.
In fact, governmental regulations are trying to do some stabilization of the real estate market and the house pricing.
Okay, I think as one of the pillar industry in China for the economic development, the real estate industry is really laying a solid foundation for all aspects of life and making a great contribution to the economic development and urban construction specific. From this perspective, that the sound and steady development of real estate industry is of great importance for the country.
But as we know, there are just lots of problems in real estate industry, such as regulation problems and high pricing or difficulties to purchase. So to ensure the steady development of such market as real estate, the government should reconsider their regulations about that to make the strict regulations about the house pricing, because as you know, it's increasing yearly, and to control this kind of processes and any other speculations in the real estate.
Yeah, I think that you're right. Investigations have been conducted that found that the housing price is actually greatly influenced by government policy.
Hey Billy, can you give us an example?
For example, do you still remember the policy of raising the mortgage rate from 0.85 to 0.9? With comparatively low interest rate on savings and the investment being really high risk, and people prefer to purchase the fixed properties such as housing. So real estate industry becoming really popular as people expect that the housing property will not only hold value, but increase and appreciate, and making the real estate industry popular among all the people here. Currently, I think most people purchase the homes through a loan, so this mortgage rate change will make it possible to limit the house purchasing to some extent by such a policy change.
According to statistics, the growth of mortgage in 2016 achieved the highest in the last 5 years.
Is there any other policy or measure to control house prices?
Of course, there are many other regulatory policies released in 21 cities in China around October of 2016, mainly through the raising the down payment and restrictions on the purchase by using the household register. In addition, some cities have taken the measures of increasing land supply and to limit the price of land auction.
Yeah, these policies and measures are released in order to prevent the house pricing growth too rapidly and ensure the sound steady development of the real estate market.
Yeah, in the Central Economic Working Conference convened at the end of 2016, the Chinese President Xi has made it very clear that the house is for living, not for speculation. So have you ever heard about that?
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. In this conference, many concrete ways controlling the increasing of the housing price were put forward. Can you list some out?
Yeah, I actually followed the conference. So it pointed out that the local government should take the responsibility. The cities with more pressure, they should increase the land supply reasonably, as well as the proportion of residential land.
In addition, I think that megalopolises should speed up the promotion of development small and medium-sized cities.
Yeah, I think you're right. In fact, in the year of 2016 was a momentous year for the real estate market in China. For the first half of 2016, house prices increased too rapidly in the first tier and second tier cities such as Beijing and Shenzhen. However, I think around October 20th, the more cities around the country introduced some measures stabilizing the real estate market in time.
Sounds like a roller coaster of house price, full of ups and downs.
Yeah, I think at the present, the real estate industry in China is out of balance. To be more specific, on one hand, in some areas, the housing property or the housing supply is greater than the real estate demand, leading to the vacancy in commercial housing. On the other hand, was the high house price. So I think the most families of middle or lower income cannot afford a house, so leading to even greater vacancy.
Yes, in some areas of China, lots of commercial houses remain unsold, and this is a consequence of this higher vacancy.
And besides, from the customer's perspective, the original consumption is also a really important factor, because most of consumers are easily influenced by property speculators and media debates.
Yeah, I can't agree more. Some of investors, driven by the profits, have increased the housing prices under these circumstances, making it almost impossible for the buyer to afford a house. And this is leading to the widening of the rich-poor gap in China.
Well, I think with such a status quo of the real estate industry, the related regulatory policies in this country, can you make a prediction of the future trend in the real estate industry in the future?
Well, according to the State Statistics Bureau in China, the housing prices gradually stabilized. So in the coming year, there probably wouldn't be ups and downs.
Well, recently it is reported that to evaluate the renminbi, the Central Bank of China is going to tighten the money supply. Of course, this may lead to rising of mortgage rates and also decreases the Chinese people's purchasing power of anything, of residential houses, and it will control the increasing of these house prices.
But also there are some other important factors as well. For example, population mobility or aging of the population is changing the real estate demand, because the older population is, there is like falling of total demand of real estate market, and it indicated the improbability of dramatic rise of houses prices. Well, in fact, the housing pricing in first-tier cities in China has suppressed the buyer's earning power. Most people cannot afford buying houses, so they have to do the down, or they need help from elders, what is unsustainable. Therefore, the housing price in future shouldn't rise anymore, and it should fall sooner or later.
Right. Interesting, good predictions with the persuasive evidence. I think most experts predict that the real estate market will be steady in general in the future for the release of regulatory policies with such an improvement that we believe the real estate market will be balanced and have a sound and steady development in the future.